What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Lucid. I want to go over the latest updates, data points, and everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So Lucid is up 4.4%, 1182 the low, 1260 the high, and 3.9 million shares being traded. So as per usual, kind of low volume. Nothing really significant coming out from a macro standpoint. There was a couple of things that's really hyping up the broader market over the weekend as well as today. So we did have UBS as also JPM really signaling that we should see a end of year rally in 2025 transitioning into 2026. Some targets are saying that it's going to go to around 7,700. And right now, at the time doing this video, we're sitting at roughly 6,800 and change. So definitely a lot more upside is on the table, at least in the eyes of JPM and also UBS. So we'll have to wait and see if that kind of causes more FOMO into the end of the year. But as of right now, Lucid's doing fairly good considering no real news, no SEC filings or anything along those lines. One of the biggest things, which even over the weekend, my weekend video, I signaled that Lucid on a technical standpoint shows that it was really pushing higher. That seems to be the only thing that's really causing kind of institutions and algorithmic trading to push Lucid higher, because Rivian surprisingly is in the red 1.2%. Tesla's obviously doing fairly well, so it hit a record high, and so that is up about 2.83% as well. So Lucid's kind of doing fairly well given the circumstances. There was a couple of things that did come out over the weekend that I didn't really bring up in my weekend video. One was this. So Marc did send an email to kind of Gravity owners just expressing his sympathy for kind of the errors, software issues. And as much as this was the right thing to do, I think just Lucid is only doing this because of that one very large account. I think they had like 4.16 million subscribers on YouTube giving a bad review. It shouldn't have like that being done to cause and prompt action because I think in general, when that came out originally, people were like, well, you should check the Lucid owners forum. These are very common issues. So I think Lucid, and this has been my biggest problem from the get-go, is that they only care about big accounts and their kind of reputation. If someone, kind of a low-level customer, let's say, gives a issue or like a recommendation, they're like, don't really care. So it's good that Lucid is kind of addressing it, but still it's bad that it needed to be kind of pushed to this level in reality, because the Gravity, if you think about it, it's been out almost about a year now. So let me know your viewpoint on that in the comments below. Only other thing that did come out, which was on the 19th, I brought this up as well over my weekend video, but it looks like the inverse Kramer curse type of thing is actually working in Lucid's case. So in case you don't know, Jim Cramer said, sell, sell, sell about Lucid. So in general, that's, I think, the biggest bullish thing that could have ever happened for Lucid. So let me know your viewpoint on that in the comments below. Aside from that, though, we are seeing a good amount of institutional transactions. So these are all the transactions occurring on the secondary market above $100,000. So 2 sells and the rest are buys. Big one, 1.22, that was done first thing. So all in all, good to see institutions trading it a little bit more. Dark pool, obviously not that active, and dark pool is often enough used by shorts as well as hedge funds. At the time of doing this video, shorts are increasing about 30,000 shares, so not too active today. 33.78% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 44.02 million shares overall being shorted. So as per usual, shorts are just doing their thing, but they're not too active as far as today, but anticipate them to be active tomorrow. So tomorrow we do have GDP, so that's going to be the big data point for this week. Aside from all of that, looking at the options, 466,000 in calls, 1.3 million in puts, 45% of all the options being done are bullish in nature. From a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be kind of roughly around 13 to oddly that $14 range. So definitely a lot of optimism is now on the table. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub kind of, it's not really too much. This clearly stands out, but that is most likely some hedging right there. So you have $15 strike prices. But aside from that, based on this, consensus is between that 11.50 and 12. Right now, with it at 12.37, it is trading between these 2 points, is R1 and the pivot, so 11.90 and 12.55 is going to be that next strong target / resistance. And in both cases, it kind of broke both of them momentarily. So I wouldn't really consider either of them being extremely strong. So again, if Lucid is able to piggyback off of the good momentum, break above this 12.55, you could see on, at least in the short term, 12.95 followed by 13.61. And again, that's exactly why I did bring up that despite everything that's happening, I actually do feel that this week you should see Lucid actually kind of push higher a little bit. And a lot of that has to do with the technicals. So right now, at the time doing this video, it is above that 10-day moving average, which is generally a very big deal for momentum plays. And then aside from that, you do have this 50-day moving average. So in Lucid's case, that 50-day moving average is huge, massive, underline all of that, because every time it does break above that, usually it kind of like results in like a 20 to 30% push higher, and then same thing vice versa when it's kind of breaking below that. But if it's able to close and stay above that 10-day moving average for today, then that should, in theory, continue the good momentum. No different than what happened back in September. I know I keep referring back to this period only because all of this time period was largely linked to algorithmic trading. And if, for instance, UBS and JPM are correct in assuming that there's going to be a continued rally in 2025 and going into 2026, then Lucid most likely will be able to piggyback off of that. So in theory, this might be a good kind of starting point. And then assuming it can actually break above that 50-day moving average, then things could get very real very fast. I don't know if that'll be on the table this week. Most likely that'll be a kind of next week type of scenario. But even looking at the flow right here, you see a lot of algorithmic trading, a lot of the smaller transactions. So AI, of course, is kind of the main culprit on why it is kind of moving higher, but nothing really crazy as far as news, no articles, no new analyst ratings. So Lucid merely is just moving higher because of its technicals and possibly good old Jim Cramer. So let me know your general thoughts on Lucid. What is your kind of viewpoint, for instance, on this that did come out about the gravity? Do you think that this was the good thing and right thing for Lucid to do, or do you think that they should have addressed this early on? Because logically, I would assume, I don't obviously own a gravity. If not, I would kind of show you guys the inside and drive it and whatever else. But I assume that the software, these glitches have been lingering for quite some time. So the fact that Lucid hasn't addressed it up until that big account, to me at least, shows more of a slap in the face to its customers. But what's your kind of honest opinion on this? So don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid on-point buying signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point. So definitely worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.